So, Johnny, you helped frame today's conference, and you remind us of the urgency of the challenge ahead, and something about the kind of gap when it comes to the west of Britain.
I think that's right. Yeah, this morning's session we looked at energy and the pressing need to combat climate change and decarbonisation, and the realisation now that we're really talking about this next decade if we're going to have a big impact and meet the decarbonisation targets and our 2-degree target. And as we sit at the moment, there are no major offshore projects, actually not just to the southwest of the Severn Estuary, but the whole west of Britain. So we're doing something wrong. But on the other hand, today's conference really highlighted the common ground that there is, and I think the kind of shared aspiration and need for us to work together to try to get some of these projects developed.
Urgency, west of Britain, and then when we were concluding today's event, you particularly kind of questioned, have we got some agreement around a pathway here? A forward plan for this place called the Severn Estuary, and just say, share a thought on that.
I think that's right. We clearly don't have a pathway. I mean, we've had a number of reviews, we've had a number of studies, but it seems to me that we don't have an agreed kind of vision or strategy for the Severn Estuary. There's lots of common ground and there's lots of areas of agreement, but in terms of the kind of politics, in terms of the decision makers, I don't think we've got a coherent vision to present to them. Within the energy group this morning, there was still a lot of discussion about different technologies, and we had lagoons, we had wind, we had barrages, etc. The reality is we need a bit of all of those technologies, and we need to look at a combined approach. In the environmental session in the afternoon, I think there was a lot of agreement about the need for data and evidence and science-led developments. But on the other hand, there is clearly a gap between where the energy sector wants to be and where the environmental groups and lobby want to be as well.
And just a thought then to leave us, if the Swansea Bay tidal lagoon is signed off, it is consented, government does its bit in suggesting that is a useful pathfinder, what's your thoughts about where we go from there?
Well, I think we have to seize that opportunity. It's going to be imperfect because the Swansea Bay lagoon is quite specific to its own location, its own environment, etc. We're not going to learn everything from Swansea Bay, but I think it will give us the impetus to say now's the time that we have to actually fill in those blank spaces where we don't really understand how the estuary works, we don't understand the environment, we don't understand the movements of sedimentation, for example. We then got an impetus to actually begin to work on that. And I think I'd really like to see, the two governments need to push on this. There's lots of stakeholders in the room today that have a lot of not just interest, but actually a lot of information that they can share. And the universities on both sides of the Bristol Channel can actually contribute heavily to filling in those gaps and that lack of knowledge that we've got. Once we've got that, maybe we can get to the point of having a common vision and a common strategy. But we're still a while away from that. I don't think we're decades, but we're certainly a year or two away from that at the moment, and that's clearly what we need to work on.